Man, y'all, what is up? It has been a while. It's been about a year since I made a video, it seems like. I think it's been like 10 months. 10 months to a year. YouTube is a very hard platform to be able to record yourself for long film versus like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of kids message me on TikTok and stuff. They know that I've recently, the last 2 years, I started up my own hay business. And a lot of kids that are in the younger generation and wanting to get into agriculture, and they kind of wanted to know, like, hey, BMO, how'd you get into all this stuff? You know, what do I got to do to be able to do what you're doing? And I want to inform you guys before I start this video that I am a revamped 4th gen farmer. Okay, my family sold out of farming whenever I was 6 years old. Just don't really have a reason why. Grandpa got old, and my dad was working at a tire plant. And the farm, couldn't do both, had 5 kids he was trying to raise, just stressful and all that good stuff. So anyway, they ended up selling out. You know, I get older, I get mad at the fact that it's gone, and you know, I don't have that to do the rest of my life. So farming's always been in my blood. I've always loved it, and it's always been something about it. I've tried different jobs, I've tried all kinds of stuff. I've always been a go-getter. I've always been my own boss. And I love it. I love being my own boss. I get things done, and I'm not a type of person to work for somebody. I'm going to show you my equipment that I use and how I got into paying for this equipment. So first up, if you guys watch TikTok, you watch a lot of my videos, you will see Ryan is in a lot of them. It's the farmer's son that I work for. Ryan's one of my best friends. His dad ended up getting COVID a few years back, and I told Ryan, I said, if you need any help, I'm there. I've always helped at the farm. I've always been in the seed shed organizing. I've always loved doing that. I've always been around hauling nurse trailers, just little odds and ends, just helping out whenever I could because I love being around the farm. I just loved it. So I told Ryan about me helping him, and you know, his dad was down, couldn't run equipment at the time, and then he had knee surgery on both the knees. So I took another 2 years, so 3 years I was full time helping. And so whenever that took course, I was learning a lot from Bob, which is boss man. And he would just little bits of knowledge every day. I mean, about cattle, about farming. He loves corn. He loves talking about corn, especially, I mean, beans as well. But you know, it's just so cool, and it was so cool for me to learn that there is so much more that goes into farming than just planting a seed and getting rain. You know, there's so much more that goes into it with your soil health, and then just your maintenance with the crops and your maintenance with equipment. I mean, I've worked on tractors my whole life, but implements and planters and, you know, rebuilding them, none of that goes through your brain. So I had to learn a lot of that stuff going into this. I mean, a guy could go into this not knowing anything, but you're not going to probably be as successful in the first couple years as you would, you know, if you knew a little bit more about what was going on. So I was blessed with that, knowing a little bit more about farming. Getting a loan, that was the second biggest thing I had to do. Dude, I didn't do my taxes right. I'm going to tell you guys right now, talk to someone that knows how to do taxes and do them properly, because I was always told not to pay the government a dime right off everything. And I screwed up by doing that because they took my overall income. I'd say I made 90 grand. And I think, I don't know, I forget how it works. I think it's gross. You grossed your total net. I can't remember. Anyway, I only made $15,000 because I wrote off everything. I go to the FSA office. I'm like, hey, I want a loan. I want to start doing hay. They're like, okay, do you have any loans out? And I was like, no, I got everything paid off. So anyway, they looked at my stuff and all my tax returns and they're like, well, we can only give you 20 grand. I'm like, what? I made $90,000 and you can only give me $10,000 or $20,000 for this loan? That's ridiculous. I was like, that barely will buy me a baler. And so anyway, I had to go to another bank and get approved for another $20,000 loan. So FSA is an annual payment of like $3,800 a year, $4,000 a year, something like that. And then my monthly payment at the farm bank is like $500, something like that. So I had to take 2 different loans out, 2 different banks at 2 different interest rates, and that sucks. It's aggravating. So anyway, that was the second thing that you need to know, is taxes to get a proper loan for the right equipment. Third is knowing what you're going to be buying, because when I came into this, I mean, I knew a little bit about equipment. You know, I can look over things, know what's going on, but like This is the first time I've ever done hay. I've never touched a hay baler before, never cut hay. I've never done any of this stuff. I learned a lot from my dad because him and my grandpa had done a lot of custom hay, and my dad was here to help me pick out the right baler and the right cutter and all that stuff. So with all that nonsense out of the way, we're going to get into the video. First up, we have an 826 International. This is an original gold demonstrator, and I know it's not got the gold on it. My grandpa bought this off the showroom floor, and we have the proof that it is gold demonstrator underneath the dash. He lost the title, of course he did. But anyway, we had it tested, and it was original gold paint from, the showroom floor. But my grandpa didn't like the gold, so they repainted the tractor and then put it like just a normal International white. And then they had some junk paint on it. It's turned pink, and it's been painted like 3 times. So anyway, this is the next thing getting restored. I blew a head gasket on it last summer. Me and Dad had it replaned and or resurfaced and everything, and we got everything looking sharp under here. Got all this painted, but everything else is gonna be sanded and painted hopefully this winter. But this is my mowing tractor. So on behind it, we got a 1411 disc bind. This is a 2003 model, I believe. My dad actually bought this for me. Bought it for like $3,500. My dad sold one of his lawnmowers and was like, hey, you need a 1411 disc bind. I just bought this actually this spring. I was using a 617 disc mower, and my dad didn't like that because him and my grandpa didn't use that. He wanted something that he was familiar with. So he ended up buying this for me actually, and I appreciate him a lot for that. But the mower we got so cheap because the driveline needed replaced. And so this CV joint right here, and this shaft alone, I think cost me $2,000. And then so that's a secondary rear shaft. The secondary front shaft, I think I paid $1,100 for that. My primary PTO, I need to get a new one. Those are probably, I think, $900, I believe. But all around, good shape, good run machine. It's gonna be needing some attention here, probably second cutting. I had to change the hydraulic hose there. It was leaking pretty good, but everything's not dented and it's pretty good shape. I got to get a new skirt for this side shield, but other than that, it's a good mower. Along the fence right here, we got my John Deere disc. I bought this, I believe, last fall. Or no, I bought that this spring. And then we got a Kiwani disc. We had an International, but my dad just sold it. We got it for cheap. And then here's my chisel plow. This is what I rip all my ground with. I replant my hay fields in. Got a 5-bottom plow. Grandpa's, I don't ever use that. And then here is my WR20 Vermeer rake. Bought this just about an hour north of me. $1,200. Wheels worked. All the tines were there. It was perfect. Didn't have any problem with it. Only thing I got to do is take the cylinder off, get new seals put in because she's leaking pretty good. But it gets the job done for now until I get time to be able to take it apart. This is a 2011 6.7 Power Stroke. It's got 180,000 miles on it. I bought it from Knoxville, Tennessee. I bought this back in January for $6,000. Just a cabin chassis, no bed. And it ended up having a water pump go bad, and it was at auction. Long story short, I ran it for a few months after we fixed the water pump and EGR delete. It was already def deleted when I got it. Sad news is it had a blowed head gasket after all. So got to get that replaced. I got quoted for $7,000, so we're going to try and get that fixed soon. So I put the flatbed on, and we're going on a parts run with the truck, just running it, making sure everything's going to be going good. And I just got it licensed. That's why we were running it so hard. And then it blows head gasket on the way from the parts store. So that was fun. So it's been sitting there for a while. But I got to sell a couple things, and hopefully I come up with some extra money to get a new head gasket and all that stuff put on the truck, because you got to take the cab off and everything, and I'm not messing with that. Next up, we have my very first tractor that I've ever bought. Is a Case 2290. Bought it a couple years ago. I think I paid like $6,000 to $7,000 for it, somewhere in that middle range. It came with duals. Tractor ran. The 3-point didn't work. The cable was disconnected or something underneath. Found that out after I hooked up my 3-point mower to it. But it does have 3 remotes. It's got your stock remote. It's got 1 stock remote and then 2 electronic ones. When you look at this is your stock remote. This is what it looks like, or your stock remote handle. And then they have put this electronic adapter kit on this tractor. I've never seen them before in my life. But basically, they they've made this handle and they've put it on here, and they've Afro-engineered it for sure. But anyway, you can hear that clicking. This operates my drop door on the baler if I ever slugged it. And then this is push this button for my gate. And this tractor did not come equipped with the 12-volt hookup. So my dad made this bracket, and then I ran some wires down here, down to the motor, or down to the battery. When I get a cap kit put in here, we're not gonna be able to see these wires, so I'm not too worried about that right now. But you know, it's a tractor, so whatever. I think she has 6,100 hours on it. And you know, at first I really didn't like the tractor because I hated this style. I hated it. I love the International, and when we went straight case, I hated them. I just didn't like the color, like orange and white. What the heck is that? And I loved it when they went straight case IH. That was pretty awesome. But anyway, the tractor's done me good. The power shift is what made me fall in love with the tractor, especially doing hay and stuff. Because I've always ran older International equipment where you got the TA and all that crap. And I mean, I don't mind it, but power shift, freaking way to go. But getting tugged around this big old bad boy is a 2016 450 roll belt crop cutter. Obviously New Holland, if you can read. I bought this for $23,000. This is a part of the loan that I had gotten. I bought this with my own money before the loan. I think I owed Bob $3,000, so I paid $3,000 for that, and then $23,000 for the baler. It's got 8,000 bales on it when I got it, and underneath the front hood here, we just got some John Deere net wrap. And yeah, I know I run John Deere net wrap, but you get twice as much for basically the same price for 2 American rolls at New Holland. So you get like 14,000 feet of John Deere, and this is cover edge, and I like John Deere now. I like the green wrap. So anyway, under here we got a couple of jugs of antifreeze, but they're actually just got water in it. If I ever got a hot bearing, it's nice to have that in there. This is also equipped with twine, but I don't want to freaking mess with twine. I like net wrap a whole lot better. It does have a hydraulic pickup on it. Like I said, it does have a drop floor in it. This right here will drop. It's supposed to be for if you slug it or something like that, but every time I've slugged it, I just had to pull it out of the front. So I don't know how that works. You can bale silage with this thing. So it is a crop cutter edition. You can insert your knives into your bale, and it chops it up a little bit easier for cattle and just like livestock in general to eat. This baler was equipped with net wrap storage on the back. Also had a bale kicker, and then had a little bit wider tires on it. So I really did like that for carrying. But the only thing I've had problem with this thing is a little bit electrical problems with the drop door. So I usually I never even hooked it up last year. But now I have to run it for my handle inside because something down there electronically with a switch or something, every time I let a bale out, it says that the drop door is open. So hydraulically I have to like pull back and suck it back up, and then the code goes away, and then I can go back to baling. So I gotta fix that. And then I had a top roller legit snap off. I think it was that one right there. And I think that was just from them running silage bales, and I had the pressure way too high on this baler. So got that fixed, and now it's freaking great. It's a good baler. I love it. I love the way it bales. The beast of the fleet is the 1486 International. I ended up buying, this is my dad's tractor. He said that I could have it. He said, you do whatever you want with it. If you wanted to trade off your tractors, get a newer tractor, this is your call. Do what you want with it. And I said, all right, boss man, sounds good. So my dad gave me this tractor. I bought this front end loader for it for like $1,500 off Marketplace. I was part of the loan. Came with a hay spear on it, and I replaced all of the hoses all the way around it. I didn't know that you could even get loaders for Internationals like this. My dad told me they used to have one for their 966, and I was like, well, I ain't gonna be able to afford a new tractor, so I'm just gonna have to put a loader on this rig. So got the brackets hooked up, and it freaking works like a dream. I was lucky enough to basically get this handed down to me. My grandpa built this barn before he passed, and he only used this barn to keep the 826 in, and then he had a camper that he put here in his bush hog. So there wasn't really, he had all kinds of room in here. And so I have taken it over with all of my equipment. It is a full barn in here whenever we got everything inside. So right here we got a 273 New Holland baler. This is a slower It's a medium capacity baler. It's a lot better than this 27 model International, but this thing doesn't bale as fast as I would want it to. But like I said, it's not a high capacity baler. I bought it for $2,000. At first, I thought I was just going to be doing square bales, and I come to find out that takes a lot of freaking work and a lot of manpower, and no one wants to work anymore. And if you're going to get an accumulator, you're looking at another $15,000 for just the accumulator and the grapple, and then I needed a freaking loader to run the grapple, and it's just a bunch of crap. So anyway, I ended up buying that round baler, but this baler here has been really good to me. I was actually doing a custom square baling job a couple weeks ago. Ended up running over a shovel handle, and it ended up shearing a bunch of crap in my chamber. So this thing's actually getting pulled out of here in a little bit. I got to unhook the finisher mower off the Ford and pull it up to the house and start wrenching on it. This International 27 model is actually given me by one of my best friends. He said, if you can get it running, you could freaking have it. This is actually the first baler I got. I got it before this one and told Dad I was going to use it. My dad was like, hey, you better watch it because they don't make parts for these anymore. So I was like, well, that makes sense. So that's whenever I went and bought that. Next up, we have an 1840 case skid steer, and I actually bought this from my buddy, traded out some labor and some cash for it. So basically, I ended up paying $5,000 for it, did $2,000 in labor and parts, and then I'm paying $3,000 for the skid steer. It did not freaking move. The hydraulics did not work. That was a horrible thing. We ended up having to take all this apart. It took like 6 buckets of freaking junk out of it, out of the bottom of the belly, because on these skid steers, there's nowhere for it to go. So anyway, I had to clean that out, and I've put a lot of freaking money into this thing. I bet I've put $2,000 into filters, fluids, dampeners, hoses, just a bunch of crazy stuff. It has 2 decent tires on the front. The back ones are rough. I painted the front ones because we're going to end up painting the whole thing. A new case, orange and gray, like a gray cab instead of a brown one. I ended up having to get a new exhaust manifold for it and a muffler for it because it was all trashed and broken. But it's all around really good machine. I got to still work on it. It's got a hydraulic leak on like the main pump drive. So I got to take that apart and replace the hoses. I think they just, rubbed a hole from vibrations on the floor. But then I had a brand called Landtop. They sent me this hay spear fork combo, and I've put the hay spear on there for unloading trailers here at the farm, and I use the loader tractor for loading out in the field. So that's been pretty cool doing social media, getting sent some stuff like that. This truck right here is what started the farm for me. This is a very special truck. This is the first farm truck I bought for the place. This is a 1997 7.3 Power Stroke's got 305,000 miles on it. Rust-free. It's got a couple dings and dents in it, but you know what? This truck is one of my favorite models Ford ever made. I bought it from Kentucky, and it had a dually bed on it. And I took it off and I put the service bed on because she was getting a little low on life with the transmission. I didn't want to put a transmission in it at the time. I was like, well, you know what? I got the 6.7 now. I'll pull with it, and I'll let the transmission live its life. And we're gonna put a service bed on it, and I'll just put air compressor on here and tools and all that good stuff because I was having all kinds of breakdowns last year. I was like, it would be nice to have a pickup, get in it, got the tools, let's roll. So it's been sitting here ever since I put the bed on this spring. I just ain't got time for it. So I think I'm gonna end up selling this truck. Actually, like I'm 99% gonna be selling it. I gotta take that bed back off, put the dually bed back on it, and sell it because I'm gonna keep the service bed. Yeah, man, I love that truck. Next up, we got a 4630 Ford New Holland tractor. Grandpa bought this on a state auction a long time ago, and it's just been here ever since. We usually use it for the finisher mower, but I use it for raking hay. When we bought it, it didn't have the canopy on it. Grandpa bought that. Him and Dad had it sandblasted, and then when he died, me and Dad found it, and I ended up having it painted and put on. And then the plan is to paint the whole tractor again. We ended up getting some new tires and wheels for the front, but it's just a good little running tractor. It's probably my favorite raking tractor. Over here, we got a fertilizer spreader. Just bought this in the spring so I could fertilize my own fields. Really, it's not as handy as a buggy, but honestly, I bought this because I was actually broadcasting alfalfa, and I needed a spreader, so I bought this for that. But I'm also it'd be nice for spreading fertilizer in little like 9-10 acre patches. Right here we have a 617 disc mower. This is the first mower I bought with my loan. Bought it for like $1,500, dirt cheap. The canvas is ripped. Needed a new hydraulic hose on it. That wasn't no big deal. And the blades were fine. It was awesome. It was cheap, and I was like, holy crap, this is the deal of the century. So ended up buying this, used it for the last season. I haven't used it this year. Probably going to sell this along with the 7.3 and put money towards my 6.7. On the side of the barn here on the east side is where I store all my hay. Kind of like the first time I've done that this year. My first time ever, I was like, Dad, I need to store my hay somewhere. And so we had a bunch of piles of dirt like this and mulch and manure and all this stuff my grandpa had for his raised garden beds. And I moved all of it and started storing hay over here on the east side. And yeah, looks like a hay farm now. I'm borrowing this from the farm because I ain't got a pickup truck with a fifth wheel right now. My Cummins is down and 6.7's down. 7.3's got a service bed on it. It's just not looking good. Not looking good. But we got this gooseneck. This is my mom's dad, my other grandpa that's alive. This is his Blair trailer. I think it's like a 25-foot, 30-foot. I don't know what it is. Grandpa won't sell it to me, but he said I could borrow it whenever I want, so it just stays here. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on in this video. Let me tell you what. I didn't realize how much stuff I had. So outside the barn, we got the forks for the skid steer dirt bucket, smooth bucket that came with it, but this one needs a new floor in it, or new bottom, and it's rusted out pretty bad. So got the duals for the 1486 and the 2290 right there. And then right here we got another 2350 international loader. I bought this loader originally for the 826 because I needed a tractor out in the hayfield. So I figured once I got done mowing, I could take that off, hook up the loader, and then go out to the field. And then I was going to use the 1486 and unload at home because that is a lot easier seeing what's in front of you and loading hay and all that stuff. But ended up getting the hang of the 1486. It just took a little bit of finessing, but I got new hoses made for it, but I just have not put them on yet. But like I said, guys, I'm a 4th-gen revamp farmer. I mean, I don't know everything in the world. I'm just getting started. I'm doing my thing, but I'm not dumb. I'm pretty smart when it comes to books and knowing how I'm going to pay my bills, and all this equipment is making that happen. But you guys gotta have an ROI. If you don't have enough hay ground, you're not gonna be able to cover your cost. So I started out with 60 acres last year. That turned into basically 120 after you do second cutting. Now I'm up to 100 acres of my own ground, and that's 200 acres basically. And then I have 60 to 80 acres of custom work that I do right now. I'd rather do custom work than my own hay, to be honest, because I ain't got to touch the bales and I just get paid for it. But now that's about 160 acres. So you're looking at almost 300 acres of hay ground that I go over every year. And that's all summer long. It takes up all my time, especially with one person. It sucks. But if you're determined to do it, you're capable of doing anything. So I want to keep this page open and open-minded for you guys, that anything is possible if you believe in yourself. You can do anything. So like and subscribe, and catch you on the next one.